This is the Archangel 2210 here to give you another Smallville discussion and some possible Smallville spin-off ideas that I've been thinking about. Now, some of them were actual rumors that they were going to actually do some of these spin-offs like a few years ago, but these are just, I haven't heard anything. These are just some ideas that I've had rolling in my head of what they might do for a possible spin-off of Smallville for the CW. Now, one idea was to, now Kara, she went to the 31st century to become a Legionnaire with all the other Legionnaires, and she will become Supergirl. So one possible scenario for a spin-off is Supergirl and the Legion of Superheroes. That would be one amazing show to do, because there have been rumors of that they were going to do a Supergirl show at one point when she came on the show back in season 7, and that fell apart really quickly. And then there's also rumors that they were going to do a separate Legion of Superheroes show. So why not combine the two when she's actually now with the Legionnaires at this point? And that's one idea. Another idea I was thinking of having was, one thing I was thinking of, where was Connor Kent in the finale? Does anyone remember Connor Kent? He was in the show, like Superboy. He was in the show for a couple episodes. And Tess, she did give him a background. Like, she gave him a bio. Clark and Tess, they gave him the name Connor Kent. And then he enrolled him in Smallville High. So I was like, okay, he's in Smallville High. But the one thing I didn't understand, and I thought was the one plot hole about the finale, was that when Clark was selling the farm, where was Connor doing all that? Because wasn't he living at the farm? That was the one thing I forgot, because they didn't mention him in the finale. The only time they mentioned him in the finale at all was when Lionel said to Tess, I would have used Connor's heart if you haven't hidden him so well. So I was like, oh, okay, he's safe, but where is he? You know, was he with another family? Is he with the mother in Washington? I mean, you know, he's got to be somewhere in Smallville. So my idea of a spin-off is like basically him in high school in Smallville High, you know, basically being a 17-year-old, 16-year-old superpowered kid, but with Connor, he doesn't have as good intentions as Clark does, and he has a little bit of a rage issue, so that will be a little interesting to see him as like basically the new Clark Kent type of character and a new type of Smallville that could basically last the 7-year gap that takes place between the finale of when he beat the Darkseid and when he's about to marry Lois in 2018. You know, that time block, there's a 7-year gap. And I think they could have a whole separate show of that alone, you know, and I think that would be great. You know, and it takes basically mainly it being, I don't know what you call it, basically Superboy and the Adventures of Smallville, and it's basically Connor Kent Superboy, not Clark Kent. It's Connor Kent Superboy, and I think that'll be interesting. You know, very interesting character, very dynamic. You got the whole thing that he's a clone of both Clark Kent and Lex Luthor, and they'll dabble on that a little bit, and that's just one idea. Another idea was, since we saw the little boy at the beginning of the finale, who, if he is in fact Oliver's son, he would become Speedy. So another idea I thought would be possible, stay with me here, is a Teen Titans live action series. Not cartoony and animation like the other one, but like very much like a live action version of the Young Justice cartoon that's on now. Where it possibly has Superboy in the lineup, maybe Robin, Speedy, or they'll probably have Speedy instead of Robin, but Superboy, Speedy, possibly Miss Martian, Kid Flash, you know, all those other heroes, all those other young heroes coming in, and maybe even Wonder Girl coming in, getting Wonder Girl, a little foreshadowing of Wonder Girl. These are just some ideas I was thinking, because a lot of people, of course, they would have liked another whole season of Clark as Superman, and I don't blame them, but I'm all the stuff that I said about the show, the finale, that I wish they could have had more action and this, that, whatever. I was very pleased with the finale. I actually was. I was happy that they finally got him to fly and they finally got him in the suit. Even though you didn't see the full suit on, the fact that he was actually wearing it, to an extent, and I think the reason why they didn't show him really wearing it when he was flying up out of the fortress and when he was pushing Apocalypse away was mainly because they probably wanted a huge reveal of the S at the very last frame of the show when he's on the building of Metropolis. That's what people were waiting for. There were people waiting for the iconic moment where he just opens his shirt and there's the S symbol. And people waited 10 years to see that. Now, putting that aside, about the Superman part, I actually would have liked Clark to be more Clark-like in the Smallville. I know that sounds stupid, but when he first went to the Daily Planet back in season 8, I was actually hoping he was going to wear the glasses full time and be bumbling Clark, or at least trying to create that duality. But at that point, he didn't. He was still figuring out who he was. He was still figuring out the duality of who's Clark and who's the Blur, and I didn't like that name, Blur. A lot of people didn't like it. I wasn't crazy about the nickname, the Blur, but they couldn't call him Superman, and I understand that, but he could have used his name Kal-El. That's what I thought he was gonna do. I thought he was gonna, like when he showed his face, and I honestly thought that he was gonna say that my name is Kal-El. Because that is his Kryptonian name, and, unless he thought people would figure out that Kal-El sounds like Clark Kent, I don't know. But I thought instead of the Blur, he could have just called himself Kal-El, which is not a lie. Superman, Superman does tell the people his name is Kal-El, because that is his second name. So I thought they were going to do that a little bit, but now I gotta kind of talk about the comic book that was in the finale. This is the one thing that kind of confuses me a little bit. Now, okay, Smallville takes place in like a reimagined universe type of thing, where Superman didn't exist in 1939. They had their own character that they created, which was Warrior Angel, which was basically a comic book counterpart that existed in that time instead of Superman in the Smallville universe. And then, so does that mean that the comic book that Chloe was reading, the little boy, that was the first issue of Superman instead, where it said Smallville on the cover, and that was the new universe version of the first issue of Superman? It makes you think, doesn't it? It really got me thinking. I was like, wait a minute, so that's like supposed to be the first issue of Superman, in that universe. So I was like, okay, that's kind of interesting. It really, and the kid was wearing a Warrior Angel pajamas and everything, so I was like, oh, that's very interesting. It's kind of like I was really thinking back about all the stuff that, of the show and everything, and all the stuff they made references to. Again, I really would have liked Batman on the show. I really would have liked Wonder Woman on the show. But I kind of understand why they didn't do that, because they wanted to focus on Clark, and they didn't want Batman and Wonder Woman to pretty much steal his thunder, because those are really two really big characters that they could pretty much, I think if those two characters had their own shows at the time, and if they were just crossing over for an episode or two, I think it wouldn't have been such a big deal. But since they didn't have any other shows, and, Batman, they were doing the movies at the time, so that's why we had Green Arrow instead. They pretty much probably would have stolen his thunder, and they probably would have, pretty much stole the spotlight. And this show is about Clark Kent. It's about Clark Kent becoming Superman and the friends and allies he'll make to become the Justice League and everything. And it was just an amazing show, great show, and I hope they do a spinoff. I really hope they do a spinoff. I don't know what CW is doing at this point. I heard rumors about the Raven television series. It was supposed to be a TV series based upon Raven. And that was months ago. That was like over 10 months ago maybe. And I haven't heard anything since. So I think that was just a rumor that kind of fizzled. You know, that's kind of what I'm leaning towards. I'm leaning towards a type of Teen Titans series that's based upon either one of the characters or maybe based upon the entire team as a whole and just jumps into it being a superhero show. So I think a live action Teen Titans would would really be really awesome. That's just my idea. Now, I think I talked enough. Tell me, what's your idea for a possible Smallville spinoff? Do you think they should have some sort of spinoff of some kind, or do you think they should just leave it alone and let it be in the 10 seasons where it was? If so, just leave a comment below of what you think, and if you like what you see here, please subscribe for more comments, reviews, rants, and just some total randomness.